Good evening and welcome to the holiday edition of Parent University. I'm Irma Lancaster, Director of Strategic Communications for the School District of Lee County. If you're joining us for this program, that means you are on track to graduate in the first cohort of the school district's Parent University. On today's program, we have, at your request, a special guest to talk about all the ESC programs we have available for ESC students. We're talking food, not only school meals, but also we'll show you how to make a special holiday treat at home. And while you're planning for a safe holiday season, we'll show you how to do it waste-free. All this and more on today's program.
On behalf of the school board, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this month's session of Parent University. As a parent of 4 children who currently attend schools within the district, I understand firsthand the importance of a parent's role in her child's education. I also understand that we, as parents, don't always know the school and district resources available to help us support our kids. Parent University is working to provide families with that information, and I'm extremely proud that so many of you are taking the time to view the program. I myself am also participating in Parent University and have already learned a lot. I look forward to continuing to learn about how we can work together to support our children's academic and overall success. Thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you, Ms. Patrika, for that message. We want to take a quick moment to remind all of you parents out there about our wonderful Grab and Go meal program available for students. And joining me right now is Candy Messenger, our Director of Food and Nutrition Services here at the School District of Lee County. Candy, thanks for being here.
I'm glad to be here.
So can you give us a brief overview, reminder of what the Grab and Go meal program is?
It offers 10 meals a week to students that are 18 years and under. So they will get 5 breakfasts and 5 lunches on Tuesday, Thursday. So Tuesday will be 2 sets of meals, and then Thursday's 3 sets of meals.
And do these meals cost anything to the families?
They are free to the students. Any child that's 18 and under is eligible to receive these meals.
That was going to be my next question. So who qualifies? It's open to anybody.
It's open to anybody as long as they are not enrolled in face-to-face.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about how the process works? What parents need to know about where to go to pick up these meals? And you just kind of mentioned it briefly there, but if they're not familiar with how it works, what all do they need to know? On Lee County website, leeschools.net,
there is a list of schools and service times for when those meals are available. So they come to the site, they pick up the meals. They'll receive a place card to put in the window for the students, so we know who the students are.
And I remember, do they have to have their students with them when they pick up the meals?
They do not, as long as they have the place card.
Okay. And so you said that's Tuesdays and Thursdays at the locations. We have the locations listed on our website. We'll put the link up for you so you can find that. What about for students who are, on campus, face-to-face instruction? Do they have the opportunity to get these grab-and-go meals as well? How does it work for them?
They receive breakfast and lunch on campus. They'll either go through the line or go to a kiosk out on the campus to receive their meals. So at breakfast time, in some schools, they come off the bus or come in through the school. There's a kiosk right there for them to grab their breakfast and then go on to where they're supposed to go. And then at lunch, they are, again, the kiosks are set up, or they can come through the line to receive those meals. It's site by site, depending on how the principal has it set up.
And for face-to-face students, their meals are in the same kind of grab-and-go format? Or?
They are yes and no. Some schools are able, if they're eating in the cafeteria, they'll receive the traditional black tray with their meal components on it. If they're going out into the campus, they'll have a to-go container with their meal in it so it's not open and spilling as they're walking through the campus.
So when a parent goes and picks up one of these grab-and-go meal kits, what What can they expect to find in them? What kind of food are in these meals?
They receive 5 nutritious components, consist of meat, a vegetable, a grain, a fruit, and a milk. And it could vary from a chicken sandwich, chicken nuggets, a hamburger. They're heat and serve in some cases with instructions.
Great. Of course, with COVID-19, parents want to make sure that everything's being done safely. So what are some measures that are being taken for families who come to pick up these meals? How do they know that it's safe to do so?
We have individually wrapped or they're sealed containers. All of our kitchens are safe certified. So we go through the safety precautions in the kitchen, so it's face-to-face or grab and go. So all of the meal components are kept to temperature, so there's no fear of that. We have gone a lot to individually wrapped to keep contact down. So we're very cautious and very aware of how we are serving.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but all the food handlers, they're always wearing masks and gloves as well, right?
Correct. All of our staff have masks and gloves on, and the other standards of the hairnets, hats, and that sort of thing.
Are we asking families when they come to pick up the meals to wear masks as well?
We are not asking them to do that. We're keeping the safety measures, putting items in either a box or a pan and handing it through or putting it in their trunk, whichever they're most comfortable with.
Okay. And to wrap it up, why do we do this, and why should families take advantage of this opportunity?
This is a service that we provide for the students and families of Lee County. It is to help with the food insecure for these families. It's of no charge to them. It's a service that we offer, and we're happy to do that.
Yep, difficult times for a lot of people out there. This is one thing that we can do to help out. Candy Messenger, Director of Food and Nutrition Services, thank you so much for being here. Again, check out our website for more information about the Grab and Go meals. And speaking of food, Jason Sill is up next with a special guest, and they'll be doing a fun activity that you can do at home.
Well, all right, thank you, Adam. Well, it's the holiday season, and there's a lot more cheer in the air. But how about some holiday cheer-os? You'll see what I mean in our delicious family activity segment that we have today. My name is Jason Sill, coordinator for multimedia communications, and joining me today is Chef Art Phillips, culinary instructor at East Lee County High School. Chef, thank you so much for being here today.
I appreciate it.
So listen, I'm trying to be really strict about my keto diet, and I think you're gonna ruin it today because today we're making something called a mini churro cheesecake.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of sugar in this. So
There's nothing keto about this. It's amazing because everyone's following keto right now. So we're doing our best at school to try to teach the kids all these different diets too.
Yeah.
So they can help each other out, and so that we can help out the staff that's there too.
And I think that's what the holidays are for. You gotta have a little time for yourself to enjoy
gotta
it.
splurge. So I think the best thing to splurge on right now is this mini churro cheesecake.
Well, this looks delicious. It smells delicious. Before we get into this, though, I know that you have been at East Lee County now for a few years.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about before you were at East Lee County. What was your occupation? What were you doing?
Well, I was a chef. I worked for a local land developer. I was in country clubs as one of the chefs, and I got about 25 years of experience.
Wow.
I started off in the dishwashing, worked my way to prep cook and everything else. Had an opportunity to go to college for culinary arts and hospitality, and then landed a great job, and I was able to be at pretty stable place for most of my career.
Yeah, we were talking when you walking in, you said, I'm really living the dream. I've been in the
am.
professional world to come and work with students. Now, Lee Schools TV, we've actually been out with you. We did a Top Chef Challenge a couple years ago where we had students competing, and a lot of these students are gonna continue to have careers, fulfilling careers as chefs, just like yourself.
It's amazing how many students are embracing this, especially where we are. The demographics of our school, it all fits. Just like I try to sell to the kids, everybody pretty much is going to have their hands on the hospitality business when we live in this area, especially when you're young. whether it's fast food or you're working at a golf course or you're working somewhere, you're gonna be in the hospitality business. So it works out really good for the kids, and then they get to taste it. And then if they decide that they want to pursue it, then we can take them to the next level in the culinary academy there at East Lee County High School, and then we can get them in the direction that they want to go.
Well, so many wonderful things out at this school. Well, listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't know a lot about cooking, baking, or anything else, but I consider myself a pretty good taste tester. So I think we should dive into this and see what we got going on here.
This is great. This is a no-bake cheesecake. It's extremely easy to make. One of the things that I try to do...
We had to do no bake because the budget for the ovens.
Sure.
it
Yeah, the
got
budget
cut.
for the
Yeah,
ovens
so-
didn't come
so
in.
we had to, yeah, sorry about that.
But it's with a lot of the recipes I try to do at my school is I try to find stuff that the kids can go home and buy themselves and be able to produce for the holiday season. So we were looking at a dessert that we could make that they wouldn't cost them a lot of money. This dessert altogether is probably a $10 dessert, and it'll feed 12 to 15 people. So it's really a great value.
All right, so we're not going to tell my wife because she will love that aspect, especially as
So we're
it's
going
on
to
a
start
budget,
off by
so-
making a graham cracker crust. So
All right.
we're going to put a half a jar of graham crackers in there for me.
Okay. Half jar.
Yep. And then we're going to put about 4 ounces of melted butter. Once we get the 4 ounces of melted butter in there, then we're going to add
Sugar.
three ounces of granulated sugar. And then we're going to take and we're going to mix that up real good. So I want you to mix that up.
Okay.
While you're mixing that up, I'm going to start the actual filling over here. So what we have is we have softened cream cheese, any kind, it really doesn't matter. We're going to take 4 ounces of sugar this time. 4 ounces of sugar. There goes the keto thing.
And by the way, Chef, we're going to make sure that we have all these ingredients listed on as a
We do.
graphic there, so on the
Exactly,
screen,
exactly.
so you can see everything that you're going to need.
And then we take 1 container of Cool Whip. And we just add that right in.
How's this looking, Chef? Am I getting
That's
it?
perfect. That's
All right,
absolutely
all right.
perfect right this second. Then we're going to take a little bit of cinnamon, about 2 tablespoons. And we're going to mix this all together.
This is incredible to me because normally I think of churros, you know, you get them at the fair. You see them at, you know, like
Well, this was a churro cheesecake. And like I said, barely because of the graham cracker gives it the flavor, the cream cheese and everything for the cheesecake really gives it a good flavor. Now,
I mean, I think I know the answer to this. There doesn't look to be anything healthy about this, but is that a little bit healthier because we're not deep frying, maybe?
well,
Maybe?
I used the light whipped cream.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
you
know,
know,
it's not deep fried, you know,
Yeah,
just a little
so-
sugar here and there.
What you want to do next is take a regular baking pan,
Okay.
put your muffin cups in there.
Easy.
Then we're going to scoop just a little bit of the crumb mixture, and then we're going to just put it in there. Trick of the trade, we take the back side and we pound it down really nice and tight.
Okay.
Okay? And we're going to do that for 2 of them. We're going to pound those down.
All right,
really
I
nice
got
and
to
tight.
get my scoop in here.
No, you're going to scoop the filling right now.
Even better.
Perfect.
All right.
So now I want you to take that filling and I want you to put some of
All
that
right.
filling in there. Just fill it right up.
Will do. Nice. I'm going to tilt this up so I don't know if the camera can get that. Looking good.
Go ahead, another half.
Can I add a little bit
so.
more?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Because what we're going to do is
the
we're
best
just going
part
to
is
press
the
it
filling.
down. We're going to move this around. And like I said, you can do these any way you want. You can dome them up. The kids had fun today. They were.
What if I want to
big-
add a little chocolate drizzle? Can I do that?
Exactly. So that was one of the things we started to do today. Was it was like, this is so cool, this recipe. But I was like, it needs something. The kids kept saying, these kids always want to take something to the next level. That's what's so cool about having them. And you're supposed to.
Usually that's just bacon for me, but you know, chocolate.
We take a little bit of cinnamon
bacon
sugar.
and everything.
We put a little bit of cinnamon sugar over the top. So we had it like that, and the kids were like, "Chef, that's awesome."
Yeah.
But we gotta do something else. And I'm like, "Okay, what are we gonna do next?" And they were like, "Can we make churros?" And I was like, "Sure, we can." So that was the next thing that we did.
So I got to say, so the actual churro part doesn't really require actual churros.
No, it
You're
doesn't.
using the
So
graham
this is
cracker and all
the
that's
this is the
making that.
churro cheesecake.
Okay.
This is the way that recipe comes out, just like this.
Beautiful.
We put a little bit of cream cheese frosting on top. I just go and buy cream cheese frosting. You put it in a Ziploc bag, zip top bag. You cut the corner, and you can use it just like a pastry bag.
Now that's genius there. We just did a segment, we're going to do a segment also today talking about how you can reuse products at home. So that's a great one, using a
This is so
Ziploc
good.
bag.
And
as a
that's what
little
I said. I
decorator.
try to find stuff that the kids have to, I don't want them to have to go out and buy anything special. And this is all this stuff, you probably got at your house, you know, if you just start looking through the cupboards.
Well, thank you, Chef. This was absolutely delicious and so much fun to make, and hopefully it'll bring a little more holiday cheero to everyone. Real quick though, before we go, can we just take a quick second and just admire this graphic back here with the Cheeros?
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you
Look at
noticed that.
that.
Yeah, our
That's
own Emily
awesome.
Emmer put that together. But anyway, Chef, thank you once again. Thanks for watching Parent University. We'll be back with more.
This year, students are required to wear a face mask at school. Students who do not have a face covering will be provided one by the district. You can put on a mask by placing the loops around both ears and pulling the mask above your nose and below your chin. Masks help prevent the spread of germs, protecting all of us and keeping everyone safe. Students will be provided with breaks for removing their face covering, such as taking their mask off while they are eating lunch. And when they are doing outdoor or strenuous physical activities during PE and recess. Face bandanas are not allowed, and face shields are permitted, but must be worn with a face mask underneath. Neck gaiters are permitted, but must be double layered for proper protection. The School District of Lee County thanks all of you for your continued cooperation in keeping our students, staff, and community safe.
Welcome back. I'm Adam Malloy, Coordinator of Community Engagement, and today we have Teresa Bowen, Director of Exceptional Student Education with us. Thank you so much for being here, Teresa.
Thank you for having me.
Now, many parents after our first learning session responded that they wanted to know some more topics about ESE and our learning models at home. And today we have Teresa with us to answer some of those questions, so let's get started. Teresa, how does the district support students with disabilities in the Home Connect model?
So we have different types of students with disabilities, and some of those students have what's called an IEP plan and some have a 504 plan. So our department supports our students with those IEP plans, and I thought it might be interesting to distinguish the difference between the two types of plans. And so a student with a 504 plan would mostly have accommodations for their learning, and those students would still be getting those accommodations as long as they were appropriate to the home learning environment. I can give you a quick example of one of those, and an accommodation that might occur on a 504 plan might be preferential seating in the classroom. Well, since they're home, there's no difference in the seating, and so that might be one that's not applicable at that time. So our students with an IEP plan, an individual education plan, have accommodations but also have services. So they have a teacher who is certified as an exceptional student education teacher on their case that provide the individualized services on their plan for them. And so those would continue in either environment.
Oh, that's fantastic. One of the questions that came in is what parent-child supports are available to help navigate these challenging times?
And so with our students with disabilities, there are a multitude of different needs, and those needs are so individualized. One of the things that I always do is I refer our parents who are looking for those supports to our parent liaison, Donna Jerf. She's really good at working with our parents to find out what their exact need is and help them navigate whether it's a school contact or a community contact that can help them with what their challenge is.
That's fantastic. Are there any resources out there for parents and students with disabilities?
There are resources all over, but we tend to have our parents navigate a few instead of sending them out for the many. One of the things we did when all of this started in March was we started gathering what was available online as resources to parents, and we did put those on our Exceptional Student Education website, and so there is a tab for parent resources on our website. The other area that we usually navigate our parents toward is Fiddlers. It is FDLRS. It stands for the Florida Diagnostic and Learning Resources System. Mouthful there. But that is, it is an agency that works with our district and in our districts across the state to provide services to parents directly. So in the form of training, in the form of assistance, technical assistance. And so we have our own Fiddlers on site here in our district as well. And then of course there is our ESE department, and we work to support our schools and our parents with the resources they need and the help they need to educate the children.
And I had a chance when we were setting this up to go down to your department and see all the different things that were happening, connecting with our schools, connecting with our kids. They were online connecting, they were talking to parents. You guys are doing some amazing work. What are some tips that you would give parents right now for supporting their online learners?
So some of the tips that we can kind of generalize is all of our students need routines. Routines are really important for our students with disabilities, for them to know what's going to happen, for them to be able to anticipate the changes. Those help with keeping things going in a positive direction for our students. The next thing we always recommend are visual supports. A lot of us just in our daily routine need those visual supports. I know I can't make it through the day without my calendar and the reminders that come on. And really, if you think about it, what comes to us through our auditory channels when we're listening is gone in the next few seconds. And so those visuals help us and help teach us what we need to do that's coming up. We had the opportunity to do and create many new types of visuals during the pandemic because we had new challenges that we've never had to face. And so one of those is something that's called a social story. And this was for our students that had never had to work with a teacher through the computer. And so it was a story called I Can Zoom. And so those are resources that can help our teachers and our parents help the students understand and revisit those and remember why they're doing these things differently.
The routines, the visual, and then the resources that we have, and hopefully we'll overlay and get that information too on Parent University. Now this new normal is challenging. How can parents in this new normal best communicate with their school sites?
Well, the most important thing is to establish how, that teacher wants to communicate or can communicate with you, the best times during the day, how they're, where they can approach and be reached. And so having that set up to begin with will help you when there is an instance where you need to communicate with them. The other thing I would tell you is if you have a concern, please communicate that with the teacher right away instead of letting it sit for a little while, because they can work with you to alleviate maybe the issue that's happening, or they can contact us if it's a situation where we need to be involved to help come up with some solutions.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if there is an issue, right away, effectively communicate with your, with your school site, with your teacher. And I'm guessing that, 9 times out of 10, that's going to resolve the issue, right there. That's really good information. Kind of switching topics a little bit, one of the comments that we saw a lot was the impact of our health protocols, specifically masks, on speech therapy development. What has been the impact of these health protocols on speech therapy at the school site and online?
So many people don't know, but I started out my career in Lee County Schools as a speech-language pathologist. So a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and something that I was especially interested in as we were creating these protocols to ensure that our students would still be getting the services that they required with some tweaks. And so I would say that nothing is perfect in this world that we're in right now. And but however, our speech pathologists, our therapists, our teachers, everyone has worked really hard. They've worked really hard to create some very innovative ways to ensure that they're still meeting the needs of students, but following health protocols. So some of the things that our speech therapists have been utilizing are some of extra barriers that are in place. And so in addition to being able to utilize clear masks so that mouths can be seen, we also have barriers. And so if there is an instance where they might need to see the placement of the tongue or lips or something when they're working with a student, there could be a quick mask break where the mask is pulled down so that they can see that and then the mask pulled back up. And so some of those things are challenging, but yet there are ways that we can work around and get what we need accomplished.
I think that kind of exactly addressed what we saw, on some of the responses. These ESE processes, Ms. Bowen, what do they look like now that parents can't be on campus? I remember as a teacher, that was a big part of the process. Was the parents were meeting, they were in meetings, they were developing goals, plans. What does that look like now that they're not on site?
And I do want to say that most of our processes that involve a student with a disability, it does require parent involvement, and that is, it is not completely out of the question just because the parents can't be in the school. And so we have set up all of our IEP meetings and all of those other types of meetings that a parent might need to be involved in creating goals and plans through Zoom, mostly. If parents cannot access Zoom, we can do those through telephone calls. If that is a barrier, if there is a barrier where we cannot do this at a distance from them being off campus, we do have the opportunity to work with the parent to create a plan where they can come into a location, and it would be somewhere where they were with one person. The rest of the team would be on Zoom, and we could keep that social distance and keep that protocol in place, but we definitely want the parent input and involvement.
So as the snow is piling up in terms of challenges and obstacles in the pandemic, you guys are plowing through with all of this pivoting and making things work. Is there anything else that you would like to say to our parents that are engaged about ESE and about this new normal?
One of the things that I did want to bring to parents' attention is the fact that we are still conducting assessments for students with disabilities, and we are still doing that with our 3 to 5-year-olds. A lot of people don't know that the school district does serve the 3 to 5 population for early intervention. And there may be parents out there that know their child has a disability, but they're not interested in accessing a school program right now. We would encourage you to still contact our Fiddler's office to get that screening set up, because you could get your plan in place for the student, and that would all be done by the time you are ready to send them to school. We're especially wanting to get that message out to parents who have upcoming kindergartners, because we would want their services to be in place when they entered kindergarten for them, and now is the time to really make sure and begin that process so that we have plans in place.
Well, I am just completely honored that you're here with us today, Ms. Bowen. Teresa Bowen, Director of Exceptional Student Education, thank you so much. Now over to you, Irma, with a very resourceful activity for the holidays.
Thank you so much, Adam. Now, as everyone is planning for a safe holiday season, maybe making some modifications, we know that everyone still wants to be festive and decorate and celebrate. As you can tell, we're definitely doing that around here. But sometimes those things can be a little bit wasteful. So to help us reduce our waste during this holiday season, with us now we have Molly Schweers, Communication Specialist with Lee County Solid Waste. Thank you so much, Molly, for being here.
Hi, Irma. Thank you for having me.
So Molly brought a lot of show and tell. So we love show and tell around here at Lee County Schools. So first of all, like we're saying, we're here to reduce waste. So why is that? What happens around the holidays?
Well, as we all get together with family, this year will be smaller groups, but in Lee County, we generate 20% more waste over the holiday season than we do the rest of the year.
And why is it just that because more people are gathering, or maybe the things that we use we don't take into consideration?
Shopping, we're cleaning up the house, we're getting ready for guests, we are entertaining more, we're buying things. It's just, wherever there's commerce, there's waste being generated.
So even though the groups will be smaller, we're still going to be festive, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of turkeys being made. So I know you have some recommendations for deep frying a turkey, is that correct?
Well, our recommendation, I know it's a tradition for a lot of families to deep fry their holiday turkeys. And then there's like, what do I do with all this leftover oil? Your annual solid waste assessment allows you to use the household chemical waste drop-off facility at no additional charge. So you just pour it, once it's cool, pour it back in the containers it came in and bring it to 6441 Topaz Court, right here off of Metro, just north of Crystal Drive, and you just drive through and drop it off.
Do you find that a lot of people maybe don't understand that and are wasteful with the leftover oil?
Well, some people want to put it in their trash, which we really don't want it in the trash because that oil can be filtered and reused in other applications.
Okay, and I think it's important for the public to know why we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, anything that you put liquidy in your trash has the potential to end up all along your road.
Oh, well, we don't want that.
We don't want that. And there's a better use for that used oil. So we're always looking, if you want to reduce your waste stream, then you want to do something useful with the oil afterwards. And it can be used for manufacturing processes or for heat oil after it's been cleaned up.
So speaking of the holiday dinner, I see that you have 2 place settings here. So definitely this one looks more amazing to me, but tell us what it is that you want to share with us.
What I want to share is, this is the time for entertaining. If it's just your family this year, there's still a trend towards using disposables, okay?
They're very attractive. People go shopping, they see it.
Yeah, they're cheap, they're convenient. None of this is recyclable. Well, this cup is.
Okay.
But all the rest of this is trash. So just think about how much trash you would generate just even for a small family gathering. Whereas if you just use your own stuff from your house, that can just be put in the dishwasher and reused again the next day, later the same day, whatever your situation calls for. I have used real glass glasses when entertaining for the last 3 years, and my guests actually thank me because it's nicer to drink out of that than this.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
It is, and you're not generating waste here. This can be used for years till we break it. I break a few glasses.
Well, it gives it a very formal feel as well, so you really feel like you're celebrating.
Yeah, this is a special time for all of us. It's been one of those years, so let's celebrate. But we don't have to generate a lot of waste while we're doing that.
And since here at the program we're all about family activities, the family can get together and wash the dishes after dinner. What's more fun than that, right?
That's a fantastic idea, Irma.
Now, you mentioned that some of those items aren't recyclable. That could be surprising for some families. What other things that are used during the holiday season are recyclable? So maybe if they, are thinking, are these disposable? Is this something that I can recycle after?
All right. One thing that's really important to remember, in Lee County we pretty much recycle containers of metal, glass, and plastic, and then we recycle boxes, any kind unless it held a liquid, and we recycle paper, any kind unless it's shredded or soiled. This napkin, after you just wiped your face, is a soiled paper. We don't want it. These are not containers. We don't want them. This, after you get done eating, is soiled paper. See, so we don't want that. But we're going to be using all kinds of stuff that is recyclable. All of these things, if they're empty, clean, and dry, they can go straight into your recycling. About 60% of the trash you generate in your home is a recyclable container.
So really pay attention. I think a lot of those too will have the little recycling emblem on them. So if you have any doubt of what's recyclable, a lot of times they'll have it.
Plastics have a number on them that tells us what type of plastic it is, and so that helps you know that. Metals don't usually, nothing else has a number on it, but often they'll have an arrow. This one doesn't, but for anybody who didn't get the memo, aluminum cans are very easily recyclable. They can be back on the shelf in 6 weeks.
That's great. Well, we hope that families get together. That can also actually be another family activity, is just getting together, separating the recyclables, and maybe even taking it out there.
But don't put it in a plastic bag, please. No plastic bags in recycling.
And tell us why.
It wraps around all the sorting equipment, and then the workers have to get in there and cut it off. It's dangerous work, and they don't like to do it, and we don't want them to have to do it.
Great, thank you.
But people say, oh, I found these special recycling bags at the grocery store. Don't use them. Just throw everything in there loose. We're going to separate it, so we want it loose. I wanted to show this because in a lot of places where you may have lived, these are recyclable. In Lee County, we burn these. We burn our waste that has low market value, and that's what's going to happen to this little guy. So if the box held a liquid, trash.
And then you have some other stuff. You have a gallon.
Oh,
There's a lot of goodies under the
there's
table.
just
It's
a
very
lot.
interesting.
There's just a lot of stuff, you know.
Really just look at your container, look at see if there's a symbol. Or,
Yeah, all the plastics, pretty much plastic containers, metal cans, glass bottles and jars, as long as they're empty, clean, and dry, they can go in there.
Now you mentioned paper, so it's a good thing because our in-house craft person who did not want to be on camera, but we'll give her credit, Emily, she is fantastic at creating crafts. So there's actually a website where she looked up where you can print out these little, how to make a snowflake out of paper. So we want to make sure, like, she's already getting into it. And Molly said she wasn't crafty, but here we go.
No.
So we would encourage you to use scratch paper. So if you happen to have, you know, paper that you've already printed something on, and maybe you know you're going to throw it away, let's make a snowflake out of it first. And so we're going to put the website up where you can find this activity. And Molly and I already discussed how we are not crafty, so we're going to fold these little items. Oh, and if you do use the scratch paper, again, our in-house craft person, Emily, told me to make sure that you cut it into a square so that you get the full snowflake effect. So I think that I'm supposed to cut this.
Yeah, I think cut on those lines. I did this with my kids when they were little,
see?
and they loved it, and we had these all over our Christmas tree.
Oh, see, that's perfect. So that's a perfect way to decorate. And then you do just recycle the paper after?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And so Emily also had some lovely boxes up here. So I don't know, based on what you said, would that be recyclable after because it's marked, or how does that work?
It doesn't matter if the paper's marked at all. The only kind of paper in the wrapping paper family that we don't want to see is metallic paper because it actually has a metal.
Okay.
So see, we need things to just be one thing, and this is still just paper.
Okay,
And
so
inside
we're
it is just
using-
a box.
So I think I did see that information somewhere. So if you are using regular wrapping paper, it is recyclable as long as it's not aluminum. Is that correct?
Well, it's not have a shiny, like a metallic finish. One year, even myself, I forgot, I found a great sale on the paper and it was all metallic, so that's all trash.
Oh, got it. Okay, that's
Pretty,
important to know. Okay,
but
so
not
let's,
recyclable, but the rest of it is.
So let's see what happened here. Okay, not bad. Thank goodness I had hours and hours of instruction prior to the program. So these were actually made out of grocery bags. So if you do get bags at the store, you know, you get paper.
Looking
Cut
for
this
something to do
out.
with your kids? Yeah.
We definitely need things to do with our kids these days because, you know, they're at home. And, you know, just wrap your gifts in it and then you can recycle afterwards. That's
Yeah, they're still usable, and I wanted to show this because I am very cheap. I save all my tissue papers throughout the year that I get. All these bags that look brand new are from holidays past. We just fold them up and save them again. We don't, if we do fill in the tag, then that has to come off the next year. But they're endlessly usable. All the garment bag boxes, just fold them up, stick them in. I have a closet, I just stick them up so I don't have to buy any of that. And I'm generating less waste from my house.
just reusing it. And you get new ones. You give them and then you get new bags and then next year you give them away. And they make full circle over and over.
Yeah.
Now we're speaking of decorating, and one of the, of course, staples of the holiday season are Christmas trees, which we have 2 small ones here, also decorated by our in-house crafter, Emily, who one day will make it on camera. We'll see. But if you don't have an artificial tree, I know that's probably something you recommend, but if you do, you know, purchase a natural tree, which I know is a big family tradition for families, what do we do after the holidays with the tree?
The good news is, I tell people if you go buy a Christmas tree at one of the big box stores or even in front of a convenience store, those are farmed trees. So they were grown to be cut to be your Christmas tree. So you don't have to feel guilty about buying them. And then once you're done with them, as long as you take all the decorations off, we will grind that tree into mulch and then or compost. So it goes right back into the cycle of life, so that's fine. If you choose to get a flocked tree, the ones that look like snow's already on them, now those will be trash. All that stuff can just go at your curb once the holidays are over. A big piece of information people need to know is all of the artificial stuff, these strings, these lights, these trees, none of that goes in your recycling cart. We will see hundreds of trees and lights in the recycling. That isn't a container or a box or a paper. We really want you to stick to that.
Right, and then just pull it off, keep it for next year.
Yeah, you can use these trees for years and years and years.
Right, great. So speaking of trees, so we have something very creative to show. So I know that around Florida, you would see a lot of palm leaves just, all over the place. Or you might happen to have a palm tree in your backyard. So if you happen to, have that access to that, we want you to do it safely. We don't want anybody climbing up palm trees. But if you do have one that's accessible or happen to have palm leaves, you just pull one off, cut the sides safely, and put your ornaments on that.
Yeah.
And hang it on your porch, inside your lanai. It could be a gift.
Yeah, it's a great flat Christmas tree for if you need a Christmas tree in a flat place.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I love that. I don't know. I might have, have somebody make it for me, but I'm sure it's pretty simple to do. It seems pretty simple.
It looks pretty easy, yeah.
Yeah, it does. We'll have to try it. Well, Molly, is there anything else that you want to say before we wrap up our segment?
I just really appreciate you having me here, and it's nice to let everybody know there's so many things you can do to reduce your waste stream during the holidays. Recycle what you can. Don't generate the waste in the first place if you can. And then we will take your used oil and your green Christmas trees once they're undecorated.
Well, thank you so much for all that wonderful information. Thank you for joining us, and happy holidays, Molly.
Thank you. Same to you. I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Now, when we come back, Adam Malloy will join me to wrap up today's program. But first, a holiday message from our superintendent.
Thank you, parents and guardians, for continuing your participation in Parent University. Your engagement throughout the first 3 learning sessions is commendable and shows a level of commitment that will assist us in reaching our vision of becoming a world-class school system. With the holidays fast approaching, I wanted to express my gratitude for parents like you who go the extra mile for their children and our school district. To see hundreds of families on track to graduate Parent University in its first year is spectacular. We look forward to seeing this first Parent University cohort take the charge as district advocates in communicating important school information outside our traditional communication avenues. I value your participation and am excited to see how we can maximize our partnership for the betterment of our students. Tell your friends and family about the program and how they can get involved in Parent University next year. Remember, the better we learn and teach together, the stronger we are. Thank you again for your participation.
Thank you, Dr. Atkins, for that wonderful and inspiring holiday message. Well, we've come to the last segment of today's program, and that is the part where we what? Why are we wearing these elf hats?
Elves, they make toys all year round, and they like to give them away on one particular day, and this is our time to give something away as well.
But before we get into this month's giveaway, we're going to give a shout out to the schools that had the most parents participating in the last session of Parent University. Tell us who they are.
So on today's segment, we have Lee Virtual School coming in at the top. We have Heights Elementary, we have Riverdale High School, and last but certainly not least, we have Allen Park. So thank you so much to those schools, but also to the dozens of other schools that have parents representing on Parent University.
Now remember, to be entered and to win, you not only have to watch the program, but you also must complete the survey by the deadline. And again, if you're participating in tonight's show, that means that you are on track to be part of the first graduating class of Parent University, but you must participate in this one. This is your last chance. So if your friends and family didn't catch it live, make sure you watch it and take the survey by the deadline, so not only you could win great prizes, but you could be a part of this historic program for the district.
Yes, thank you so much, Irma, for explaining that process. We're so excited to have this first cohort be true district advocates. Parent University is going to be growing and expanding, but we'll always have that first cohort.
Now let's get to the prize. So I'm excited about this because this has been something that has been not happening due to the pandemic, and from what we're hearing, it's going to open back up in January with a lot of restrictions because we want to make sure that you're safe. So what is it?
So I know a lot of people have heard of the Polar Express. Well, this is our own version of that. It is the Murder Mystery Dinner Train, a unique dining experience, reservations required, and we're going to draw a name.
What do they get? Two? Is it?
It's two.
Two
Yeah.
tickets. Okay.
2 tickets.
So you could take one of your children, you could make it a date night, you could make it a girls' night or a guys' night, however you want to do it. All right, let's do it. Let's draw a name. Who's it gonna be? All righty. And this month's winner, Yunette Linares from North Fort Myers Academy of the Arts. Woo! Congratulations. So how do they get the prize? We'll contact her, right?
Yes, I will be contacting your email address that you used to register for both the registration and the survey. And congratulations, this is such a great prize. And we're gonna have many more prizes on every single Parent University drawing.
Right. Well, this concludes today's program. We are going to thank you, Adam, again for helping put today's program together. Before we go, we are going to leave you with an inspiring story of how a group of students came together to help one of their instructors and his family during a very challenging time. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Sometimes one person can impact many lives in just a short amount of time.
He was one of the kindest people I've ever met.
Being around him really made my day.
Sergeant John Lyons started teaching at Mariner High School in 2019.
He was just such a positive person, and he really cared about his students.
The guy had the biggest barrel laugh. He would just laugh from his belly, and it was contagious.
An Army veteran who served the country for 29 years before becoming a teacher, Lyons was an instructor in Mariner's JROTC program. He also coached the school's robotics and cyber patriot teams.
Every morning he wakes up and he said, I can't wait to go to school and teach my student, and it motivated him. He said, those children are going to join the military because of me.
He definitely turned me into the leader that I am today, because I used to be like this really small, shy person in a shell.
Earlier this year, as school was just starting to get underway, doctors diagnosed Sergeant Lyons with cancer.
I didn't notice he was sick. I mean, he was acting normal, and they said, well, he has stage 4 cancer. And I asked him many times what's the cause of it, and they have no clue, no idea.
His actual dying wishes were to see his students. He was asking over and over in the hospital. He said he wanted to come back to Mariner and see the kids and be with the kids. And we couldn't do that with COVID and with the illness, but literally to his dying breath, that was his last wish, was just to be with the kids.
John Lyons passed away on September 6th, 2020.
He really loved us. And it's unfortunate that he was taken away from us.
We, the instructors, launched a GoFundMe. And somehow, and to this day I've researched, I don't know how, a student found out. Not a bad thing. And then another student, then another student. One of our colleagues, Kim Williams, she called me up. She goes, Brian, you need to look at this. Look at the GoFundMe.
And I pulled it up and I started looking, and I was at home, and name after name after name were our kids. And these kids were donating on GoFundMe. And when you say $10 or $20 to us, that may not seem a lot, but to our kids, that's a lot of money.
As soon as I found out, I immediately donated what I could. I shared it.
I started telling all the fellow cadets and the staff members.
I shared it everywhere I could.
It started with a couple $10 donations, $5, and then it got more and more, and people were donating.
And we raised just short of $10,000, and every penny went straight to his wife.
$10,000.
Yeah.
What did that mean to you?
It means the world to me. God bless them. I was like, they didn't have to, like I said. And because of that GoFundMe, they helped me a lot with the bills and stuff.
Through this, I was reminded of probably the most important factor that I know my own kids got out of school. And math and science and English and social sciences are so important to the development of people so we can be involved and have productive careers. But the whole purpose of our program exists to help these young people become the next generation, the next citizens, the next caring parents. And this is evidence that I think we're doing the right thing in Lee County.
He was an awesome guy. I wish the freshmen for years and years could have met him, but I hope his legacy lives on. People understand that he's not just another instructor that comes and goes. He was somebody who really made an impact.
Sergeant Lyons, thank you for your service, not only to our country, but to our students. For Lee Schools TV, I'm Adam Wright.